So we're going to start assembling the tool chain and the locking mechanism onto the X gantry now. So this is the X carriage that we had assembled. I've put in the probe here. I've also installed an X end stop. So we're going to put this onto the X gantry. On the engine tool rail, we need 4 M3 by 8 screws to install in the X gantry. So we will go cross. This is pretty much a standard Voron carriage that needs to be installed, and I think this is the pre-R2 Voron 2.4 carriage. So tighten the screws up. So that is that. The next thing that we need to install are the belts. So the way the belts actually go in here, I have to take this off to get the belts installed. I could do that without taking it off as well, but I think it's much easier to actually just take it off and then assemble it once the belts are installed. I already have a lot of the belt routing done. I'm just going to do the belt installation on the front. The belt routing essentially is the standard Voron Trident belts. So belts come up like this. The belt is getting stuck in here. I might just take the screw out and then allow the belt to come out, and we'll tighten this back up. There we go. So that is the first set of belts. We will take this M3 by 10 and install the belt clamp here. So this is a standard Voron 2.4 belt clamp that came with the initial gantry or the initial carriage. This was the pre 2.4 R2 carriage that was there, the one that was based on dual MG9s. So you should be able to get these clamps from that repo. So we will just push the belts out. So next one. Just move this camera a bit. Get there. Same thing here. I think we need to take using this screw, take it out of the belt path. So we take the other belt clamp, just put it on this side. As you can see, I have butterfingers. So and then the belt path is a bit compromised. We'll check on that once we have tightened things up. And then the belt is riding up a bearing or something somewhere. It's not moving as smoothly as it should. I think we'll fix that once we actually get the belt somewhat tightened. So let me go ahead and tighten the belts properly. So now that the belts have been adjusted and the belt path is correct, I think we're looking good. So So that is the installation of the x-carriage on this side. The next thing that we need to do is to install the locking mechanism, which actually goes onto the back here. So now that we have the carriage installed on the MGN12 on X gantry, I've also corrected the belt routing. The belts are tensioned properly now. And I've also gone in and added a cable chain. So this is a printed cable chain that will pass underneath the carriage. Again, this is something experimental for me right now, because I did not like the cable chain that was coming up from here. It was kind of going up this high and then coming in up till here onto the X carriage. So kind of made some modifications to allow the cable chain to be passed from in between the X carriage. We'll see how it goes. I think it's going to perform fine. So this is a printed cable chain. The tool locking mechanism, which is this one, is going to be installed in here. So we'll zoom in. Yeah, so you see it now. So we will take two M3x16s and put them into the holes in the front, and they will thread into the heat set inserts on the tool locking mechanism. Now that is done. So if you look at the cable chain passes from in between the gantry. It might be a bit noisy, but I think it's going to settle down with time. I think there's a bulge in here that I need to manage somehow. It might be the wires riding up on each other, but overall I think this is fine, and kind of just goes in like this. The cable chain will be extended out a bit more, and this will come in like this, so it will ride together with the gantry up till the Y max, then comes in like this as well. So I do think that this will allow for a cleaner gantry. And if you look at the tool locking mechanism, works like this. So I think that's working fine. The wire routing will be done from here. Now we need to install the servo. So we need to take this red piece up and install it with M3 by 10s, I think, or M3 by 12s. Again, I need to figure out what the sizes of these screws are. This one's a bit too big for this. It might actually need M3 by 10s. I think this is an M3 by 12. So this is an M3 by 10. I've not kept a track of what the sizes of screws were. I will go in and I'll just do that with the CAD, but for now I've just kind of kept it as what I could just find and stuff. So fully tightened completely. Now we're going to take the servo and install it. So, so now that we've assembled this red part on top of the x-carriage, we can go ahead and install the servo. So to install the servo, it's pretty simple. We just need two M3 screws that will go into their respective heatsink inserts. So you need to make sure this servo is tightened completely so that there is no movement in the servo when it's activated. That is why I have this two part mount that allows you to clamp the servo down and restrict any movement. So now that the servo is installed, we need to go ahead and install the horn on the servo for this cam to be lifted up and down. So if you look at this, should you guys just put a seat? Let me just fix the camera angle. So let's go ahead and install the horn. So this is the horn that we're talking about. It includes the normal nylon horn that comes with the servo that fits into this slot, and then this horn gets installed onto this servo in a way that at rest the notch on the back, this notch here on the back, if you can see, this should rest on the indent on the cam here. So I install it like this. So that does it. Then we take the normal screw and the washer that comes with the servo itself, and we thread them into the servo thereby locking the horn with the servo. The idea behind this notch is that the servo should not be able to move past this. Otherwise, what was happening sometimes was that this would actually go down completely, and then it would not be able to come back up, leading to failed tool changes. So now the idea is that it actually kind of, so let me just show you how this is supposed to work. So it will go up onto this notch and it will engage the tool lock. So now we're ready to install the final pieces on the tool locking side. These are 4 mm pins that are about 50 mm long, and we need to install this onto the tool locking side like this. These are the ones that will go into the tool and align it to position with the clamp here. And the other thing that we need to install, as I had mentioned earlier, is this ring magnet with a 25 mm M5 pin through it. It's pointed for it to go into the corresponding magnet on the tool side. So this will be installed in here, but before we do this, we will need to put some super glue onto the plastic part to allow it to hold. To finish off the assembly of the tool head, we need to take two M3 by 10 button head screws and install them into the heater inserts that we actually placed on these two legs of the main x-carriage. So that completes the assembly. If you look at the tool head clamp, it is going to go up and down with the servo, and that is what will lock and unlock the tool onto the carriage. So now that is done, the only other two things that need to install are these 4 mm pins in these holes, and then this ring magnet with a 25 by 5 mm pin, which will go in here. We need to secure them with super glue, but we will not do that right now. We will do that when we get to the stage where we are aligning the carriage with the tool. I have a special jig that will actually allow us to align these pins with the holes on the tool side. So to install the parts fan, these are the two legs of the parts fan. They get installed like this using M3 by 10 or M3 by 12 screws that go into the heat set inserts. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. We will go ahead and do that now. Looking at the wrong one on the wrong side. This is the correct one. I need to put two more screws here, but once that is done, the we need to glue this other part on top of the fans, and then the 50-15 fan gets installed here. And this gets installed like this. So that essentially is how the path fan is installed. So now that we've assembled the carriage and the individual tools, I think we're ready to put everything together. So we will assemble the dock. The dock consists of two parts. One is this piece that sits in the back on the extrusion, and then the other one is the longer piece that connects to the um, black piece through two heat set inserts here, and they actually connect like this, and then they sit on the extrusion like this. Um, so this is where the wiping mechanism for the individual nozzles will go. But if you look, we essentially have four magnets installed on the dock. These are two ring magnets, and then there are two 8 by 3 magnets. Um, I have checked the polarity with the individual tools. So the way the tools dock into them is, so this is an individual tool, and they will come and clamp onto the dock like this. And when they actually get picked up, they'll be good. So we need to make sure that the polarity of these four magnets is opposite of the polarity of these four magnets, so that they can actually clamp and have a good withholding force when they are docked. So the additional thing that we need to do onto the dock is to make it adjustable on the middle hole on the black piece. We need to insert an heat set insert. So I'll take the soldering iron, just put the heat set insert in there and push it down a bit. So if you see, that is where the heat set inserts go. What this allows me to do is it allows me to actually put an M3 screw here, and if I need to move this dock up and down, it will ride on that M3 screw up and down, and it will move this piece along with it. So I can raise the height of the individual tool um, based on if there's a difference between the angle um, on this extrusion from here to here. I can actually raise the individual tool in that sense. So that is how the dock goes together. So I will go ahead and install all the docks now. Just one thing to keep in mind, that there are two versions of the dock. One has a cut on the side. These are the ones that actually can go on the side, so that they have space to ride above the A and B drives, and the other ones do not have a cut, and they can just sit in the middle like this. So that is the only difference between these. So I'll go ahead and install all the docks and the individual tools, and then we can go about configuring them in terms of the height to be in line with the tool pickup mechanism. So now we're ready to put the tool and the carriage together. So if you can see, I've installed the docks and I've also installed a couple of extra things on the carriage. So if you look closely, there are two M4 pins on the carriage that go into these holes, and then there is a ring magnet with an M5 pin coming through it. Both of these interface with the tool, and to align the tool and get everything working together, we need another set of two M4 or 4 pins. These are I think about 50 pins. They will go in to these holes and come out through the other side from between the magnets on the dock. I'll show you that. So to install these, I will loosen the M3 screws that are holding this black piece and the dock together, and I will install the M4 pins. I might just need to hit it a bit to get it to pass. They are a tight fit. For a reason that we do not want them to come off when the tool actually gets pulled out. So I'm just going to use my trusty file to push them through. Same goes for the other pin as well. So now if we look at the other side, we will see that the pin has come out from between the ring magnets on the red piece of the dock. So now to put everything together, we have these two pins coming out from the back of the dock. We have these two pins that are installed on the carriage. We have this assembled tool that has two ring magnets in here. This is how the tool will go into the dock. So there will be these two ring magnets will couple with these two ring magnets, and the two rods coming out will provide additional guidance and recoil support. And now to align everything together, what we need to do is we need to take this tool off, keep it on the side. We will loosen these two M5 by 10 nuts, button heads that are holding this red piece onto the back extrusion here. So I'm just kind of put it up here like this. So there are two M5 by 10 socket heads here that are holding the red part onto the back extrusion. What we want to do is, now that we've loosened them up, we will tighten them and just leave them just a little bit loose, enough to allow that red dog to wiggle about when the carriage comes in and attaches itself with the tool, but not enough to kind of just move everything around. So now that this is there, I will open up the clamp of the carriage manually by using the eccentric horn manually. I will come in and then once I have docked into the tool, I will just allow the lock to be engaged. What that will do is that will actually settle everything in its final position where it needs to be when the carriage and the carriage comes in to pick up the tool. Now that that is done, I will push the carriage extrusion back and we'll see that the tool has been picked up and this dock is in its final place. I will just take the Allen wrench and tighten them down fully. Now I can just come in a couple of times and make sure manually that everything is working fine. When I release the clamp, there is no there's nothing that gets obstructed. I come in again, lock it up manually, take it back without any obstruction. It gets picked up, and when I release the clamp without any obstruction, it moves out. So what that means is this is the perfect position for the tool to actually rest in. Now when the dock comes in and out, it will be without any friction or any interference, and we'll have a smooth tool change. So that is how you go and assemble the tool. So we have the carriage assembled now, we have the tool that is now resting on the dock in its final position, and we have tested the pickup and drop of the tool manually and the alignment has been done. We need to do that for all the other tools in there, and once that is done, we're ready to go on to the wiring and the software.